NFL regular season is over and the playoffs are about to begin. For my analysis and prediction, stay tuned. You're watching Bench Talk Sports. I'm Anthony Ambrose. Before we get into the video, make sure to leave a comment, drop a like, and as always, subscribe for more content from Bench Talk Sports. You can also press the notification bell to be notified every time that I drop a video. So the NFL playoffs begin this Saturday and Sunday with double, triple headers. There's 3 games on both days. This is the first year of the expanded playoff format with 14 teams as opposed to 12. That means that only the top 2 1 seeds in each conference will get a first round bye, and the second seeds will have to end up playing the 7 seeds. 3 seeds play the 6 seeds, and 4s will play the 5s. So that means more predictions and more analysis for people like me. Let's do it. So we're going to start in the AFC, and we're going to start off with the 2 seed Bills taking on the 7 seed Colts in Buffalo. Josh Allen is a machine. This dude is probably 3rd in MVP voting this year. He's had a career year across the board. He's improved on everything. Accuracy, the deep ball, completions, IQ, everything. Stephon Diggs is actually leading the NFL in receptions this year. Now, Buffalo doesn't have a great run game, but their passing game is prolific. They do have a top passing game in the NFL. They have great play callers. They have great coaching. And because of that, I think that they are going to knock off the Colts pretty handedly this Sunday, because along with that, I also do not trust the quarterback on the other team. I do not trust Philip Rivers at all. Throughout Philip Rivers' entire career, it has been predicated upon 2 things: head-scratching decisions and costly turnovers. And it's going to be no different this weekend when they take on the Buffalo Bills. He's going to throw a pick. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to do something to put his team in a bad situation, and Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are going to take advantage. Therefore, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills 31-17 to move on to the divisional round. Moving on next to the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. First off, Kevin Stefanski, please, somebody, give this man a medal. Let him win Coach of the Year. Something. This dude is Cleveland's savior. He might as well be Jesus Christ to the people of Cleveland. He has resurrected their football team out of the depths of hell. He should automatically win Coach of the Year. This is the Cleveland Browns' first playoff berth since 2002. My entire life, the Cleveland Browns haven't made the playoffs. This is the first time in my life's existence that the Browns will make the playoffs and play meaningful football in January. I am so happy that the Browns are finally back to relevance, and honestly, I'm going to be rooting for them this weekend. I want to be objective, and I want to report on this game as objectively as I can. However, how could you not root for the Cleveland Browns? With that being said, I think that this game is going to come down to a couple of factors. I think that first off, it's going to come down to, can the Cleveland Browns continue to push the ball, move the chains, and control the line of scrimmage? Can Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb continue to rush like they have been all season? Then, can Baker Mayfield capitalize on that run game and throw the ball over their head? Can they continue to run the play-action game as well as they have been? And can they continue to control the time of possession? I think that with the way they've been playing lately, I think that they will be able to do it. They had a little bit of trouble with it this week in Week 17, but I think that, with a week to prepare, and they know it's the playoffs, and they know it's actually a meaningful game, I think that they might be able to get the job done. Now, on the other side of things, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've had trouble moving the chains themselves. Not only can Steelers not run the ball, but their passing attack hasn't been great lately either. Lots of drops, a lot of short passes, and not staying ahead of the chains. The Steelers need to throw the ball more over the top and stop the underneath stuff. They look like the Chicago Bears out there, to be honest. These little 5-yard passes, they catch one here, drop one there, they get to a 3rd and medium, and they can't convert. It's not going to work. It might work against crappy defenses, but it's not going to work against Cleveland Browns. You need to throw the ball downfield. You need to get your guys involved. You need to get Deontay Johnson involved. You need to get Chase Claypool involved, Juju Smith-Schuster, Eric Ebron. You have all these pieces. Throw them the ball. Get pass interference calls. Move the ball down the field and move the chains. Stop throwing the underneath stuff, because they can't catch it anyway. So, with all that being said, I am going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to win. Unfortunately, I'm going to pick them to win 24-21. I think it's going to be a close, hard-fought game, but I do think that Ben Roethlisberger is going to find a way to pull off the miracle. Sorry, Cleveland. There's always next season. Then moving on to the game that I am definitely the most excited about this week, Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans. Now, last season, the Baltimore Ravens were probably the favorite going into the playoffs, they were so dominant. They were the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Nobody could stop Lamar Jackson. That was until they ran into the buzzsaw that was Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans. The Titans not only upset the Patriots in the first round, they then upset the Ravens in the second round, and they almost upset the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, and they almost went to the Super Bowl. These are the top two running offenses in the league. The Ravens do have a significantly better defense than the Titans, so I do give the Ravens the advantage there. I do think that they do have better coaching. John Harbaugh, I like him a lot better than Mike Vrabel. So I think that when thinking as this game as a whole, it's going to come down to, who can run the ball more effectively. Not only that, but it's also going to come down to who can get their other guys involved more, other than A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry. The Titans need to get, Jonnu Smith involved. They need to get Corey Davis involved. They need to get these other pieces involved, because if you just focus on Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown the entire game, they're going to know who to key on. That's the problem with the Titans, is they are a boom or bust team. So it is a matter of if Derrick Henry doesn't make a big play, if A.J. Brown doesn't catch a 50-yard bomb, then the Titans aren't scoring. Ryan Tannehill just can't score without those two players. If the Ravens shut down those two guys, they're going to have a lot of trouble scoring. Now, on the flip side, the Titans, all they have to do is QB contain Lamar Jackson. Now, it's easier said than done, obviously, but Lamar Jackson wants to run the ball. He rushed for over 1,000 yards again. He showed this year that he's not really a great passer. He hasn't really improved that much. His accuracy isn't great. So, but he does have other pieces around him. He has Mark Andrews, Willie Snead, Marquise Brown. He does have people to throw the ball to. So if you make him throw the ball, I think you're going to have a better chance of winning the game. So when it comes down to it, it's going to come to which team can make the other team use the players that they don't necessarily go to first. Who can make somebody else beat them other than their star? Can the Titans make somebody else other than Lamar Jackson beat them? And can the Ravens make somebody other than Derrick Henry beat them? That's what it's going to come down to. And in the end, I am going to give it to the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to take it 21-10. Moving on to the NFC, now we have the Bears taking on the Saints. And this one's an interesting one because the Bears have a fantastic defense. So do the Saints. These are two fantastic defenses, probably top two NFC defenses in the league. Maybe you can throw the Bucs in that conversation, but I think that these are really the two top defenses in the NFL. Now, the offenses, that's another story. I was thinking earlier, if you replaced Mitchell Trubisky and you put him on the Saints, and then you put Drew Brees on the Bears, does it really change anything? Because, what's the problem with the Bears? That they don't throw the ball downfield. What can't Drew Brees do anymore? He can't throw the ball downfield. What's the problem with the Saints? Drew Brees has trouble getting the ball to Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders downfield. Well, guess who loves to throw the ball downfield but doesn't because of the scheme he's in? Mitchell Trubisky. I think that if you switch them, that the records would be pretty much the same. I think the Saints would still be a 2 or a 3 seed. I think the Bears would still be on the verge of a wild card. People love to hate on Mitchell Trubisky, and people love to praise Drew Brees, but I don't understand. Drew Brees can't throw the ball more than 25 yards anymore. And Mitchell Trubisky, he threw almost 80% for 250 yards against the Packers last Sunday, on Week 17. And he did throw a pick, but he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he didn't have a horrible game. It's not like he cost his team. So when it comes to the wild card this weekend, the Saints are going to win, and the Saints are only going to win because of Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas and the people surrounding Drew Brees, not necessarily because of Drew Brees. This playoff win is going to be a lot like when the Broncos led Peyton Manning, who couldn't feel his fingertips, to the Super Bowl. Drew Brees isn't leading this team. The Saints are leading Drew Brees. And I think that the Saints defense is going to be overbearing for the Bears offense, because the Bears offense aren't going to do anything against a good defense, and that's exactly what the Saints are. The Saints are a quality defense in the NFL. They're a top defense in the NFL. I'm going to pick them to win 24-13. Moving on to 3-seed Seahawks and the 6-seed Rams. This is a really interesting game, or at least it was until Jared Goff got hurt. So now John Wolford is probably going to be stepping in and playing instead of Jared Goff because he is recovering from thumb surgery. That's a big hit for the Rams. I mean, the Rams really do have the best defense in the NFL. They have probably the best offensive play caller in the NFL in Sean McVay. And it's really unfortunate that they got really unlucky at a really bad time, because they could have been a dark horse to win the Super Bowl, but with John Wolford, under center. I just don't see it happening. I think I think that the Rams are going to be able to keep Russell Wilson and the Seahawks in check, but I do think that they're going to have a little bit of trouble scoring themselves. So because of that, I do like the Seahawks more only because Jared Goff isn't playing. If Jared Goff was playing, I think I would probably pick the Rams, but because he's not playing, I gotta go with Seattle. And I'm picking Seattle to win. I'm picking kind of a high scoring game here, and I think Seattle's gonna take it 34-31. I think it's still gonna be close. Alright. We are finally on the final game of the first round of the playoffs, and it is probably the least interesting game of the entire playoffs. It is Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington football team. So basically, the Bucs get a bye. I'm not really going to add anything to this because it's not really going to be a game. Like, it's not close. There's really no analysis other than good for the Washington football team, I guess. Ron Rivera, Alex Smith, good job. You made the playoffs just to lose in the first round. But other than that, obviously Tampa Bay is going to win. And I have Tampa Bay slaughtering them 28-10. Sorry. So now we move on to the divisional round. We got the Kansas City Chiefs coming off their bye week, and they're going to take on the Baltimore Ravens, who ended up defeating the Tennessee Titans in my predictions. And I think that the bye week is going to be both a blessing and a curse for the Kansas City Chiefs from not playing football at all, or just playing not so meaningful football, because they clinched the division, the playoff berths so long ago that they haven't played meaningful football in a while. So just going from that and then going to play such a physical team like Baltimore, especially a team who you beat earlier in the year, who are gunning for you. You've beaten them the last 2 times you played them, so they're going to be gunning for you. I think that it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch, and honestly, I think it's going to be a shootout. Because I don't think that Baltimore, even though Kansas City is going to be rusty, I still don't see Baltimore stopping them. I think that Kansas City might get in their own way in the first half. I think that they might throw a pick or two or maybe fumble here or there. But I still think that they're going to be able to recover, bounce back, have a good second half. And I think it's going to be a shootout. And for Baltimore, I don't see Kansas City being able to stop them. Because Baltimore, it's just they have a prolific run game. Lamar Jackson just carves up defenses, and if Lamar Jackson and the Ravens can figure out how to beat the Titans, and I think that they can also figure out how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, they could figure out how to carve up their defense, because Kansas City, even though Kansas City's defense has improved, it's still not necessarily great, and it's not elite by any stretch of the imagination. So it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be high scoring, and I think that the Chiefs are going to take it 38-35 and advance to the AFC Championship game. The other AFC divisional matchup we got going on is the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's what needs to happen if Pittsburgh wants to win. Pittsburgh needs to keep pace with Buffalo. If Buffalo scores, Pittsburgh needs to drive right back down the field and score as well. It has to be a track meet. It has to be. If Pittsburgh doesn't score, they're going to lose. If Buffalo gives you the opportunity to take the lead, you have to take it. It has to be a track meet, because you're not going to beat Buffalo with the way you've been playing lately. If you end up beating the Browns and you don't score that much, that's not going to happen again. You're not going to beat the Bills the same way you beat the Browns. You're not going to beat the Bills if you don't score. You're not going to be able to stop the Bills, so you might as well try and score with them. You have a good defense, but your defense isn't good enough to contain them. So if the Steelers want to win this game, they have to keep up. And honestly, I just don't think they're going to be able to. I think that they might be able to for a little while. Maybe 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters. But the Bills are going to pull away because the Bills are so good on offense. The Bills are just so good. And their defense is good too. Don't mistake the Bills for being an offense-only team, kind of like the Chiefs were last year. No, the Bills can play on both sides of the ball, and with Pittsburgh struggling on offense this season, that leaves the door wide open for the Bills to march right into the AFC Championship game against Kansas City, which I think they will. I think the Bills are going to take it 27-20. Moving over to the NFC divisional matchups. First off, we got Seattle and New Orleans, a 2 and 3 seed. Seattle wants to win this game. They need to limit their mistakes. They need to not turn the ball over, and they need to give Russell Wilson enough time to find his receivers downfield. Now, like I said before, New Orleans has a good defense. However, they tend to blow coverages every now and then. That's because that's just what they do. So if Seattle can expose them and can find holes and cracks in their secondary, and they could find DK Metcalf, they could find Tyler Lockett, they can get those guys open and they can make some big chunk plays, then they're going to be able to score and they're going to be able to hold a lead. Now, for New Orleans has to run the ball. They have to pound the ball. They have to attack the Seahawks because the Seahawks don't have a great defense and their front seven isn't that great either. So if the Saints want to win, they need to do a good job running the ball. If Seattle wants to win, they need to do a good job protecting Russell Wilson because the O-line's been shaky all year, and they need to give him enough time to find receivers. So in the end, I think that Seattle's going to prevail. I think that Seattle's going to take it 17-13. I think it's going to be a chippy, low-scoring, grinded-out type of game. I think Seattle's got it. All right, and our final NFC divisional match is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers, the first ever playoff meeting between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. God, I've waited for this for so long. Too bad it's not the Super Bowl. The two best offenses in the NFC going at it. Both teams have good defenses, but they're not known for their defenses. They're known for their offenses. Tom Brady and the Bucs, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Scotty Miller, Leonard Fournette, LaShawn McCoy, Ronald Jones, the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, Lazard, Valdez-Scantling, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. The fireworks are going to be all over the field. This game is going to be fantastic. I think that this is going to be the best game of the playoffs by a lot, by far. I don't think it's going to be too high scoring because, the defenses they're not schmucks. Like they're not just going to roll over. However, I do think that it's going to be an offensive game. I think that both teams are going to have over 400 yards of offense, and I think that's going to be a great game. Now, in the end, I got Tampa Bay winning 20-14. I got Tom Brady prevailing over Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field. We're almost there. We got one more stop before the Super Bowl, and that is the conference championship games. Now we're going to kick it off with the AFC, and we got Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. If you're not excited for this matchup in the conference championship, I don't know what you get excited for because this is the game I'm dying to see. The two best offenses in the AFC, the two best quarterbacks in the AFC, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. This game is going to be phenomenal. It doesn't matter if it happened in Kansas City. It doesn't matter if it happened in Orchard Park. It doesn't matter if it happened in Raymond James Stadium in the Super Bowl. This game would be awesome no matter what. I am really looking forward to this game, and I'm really hoping that it does happen because this game will be off the charts. Now, I think this is the kind of game where it's going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's kind of how I picture every Kansas City game, to be honest, because their defense isn't great. The defense is good, but the defense isn't fantastic. And their offense is so good that nobody can stop them. Now, Buffalo does have a good defense, and Buffalo does have a good offense. It'd be a good matchup. It's a good clash of styles. So I think that this game is going to come down to whoever makes the first mistake or whoever comes up with the first anomaly. What I mean by anomaly is like does Buffalo get a kick return touchdown, or does Kansas City, muff a punt, or something absurd, something that's not supposed to happen, something out of the script that's going to cause the other team to get the advantage. That's what I think is really going to come down to. Obviously, you can't predict something like that, but me being me, I'm going to, and I'm going to say that Buffalo muffs a punt or something. Something's going to happen. It's going to go Kansas City's way, and that's why I have Kansas City winning a pretty tight game. I could see it going to overtime. I could see it playing out really closely, but I got Kansas City prevailing 24-22 and going to the second Super Bowl in a row. Our final stop along the way to the Super Bowl is the NFC Championship game between Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. Tom Brady versus Russell Wilson once again in the playoffs, a rematch Super Bowl 49, except that Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski are now on the Bucs. How do I think this game's going to play out? I've already said a lot about these two teams. I said that, Tampa Bay has a prolific offense. They have a solid defense. Seattle, they need to get their receivers open. They need to give Russell Wilson enough time. And, it's not much different this game either. The formula that these teams need to execute to win every game is pretty much the same. So it's going to come down to who can make a stop, who can control the time of possession, who can put more points on the board, obviously. So, I can't really give too much of an in-depth analysis here just because I've already talked at length about both of these teams so much. but I am just going to say that I do think Tampa Bay is going to win a close one, 20-14. All right, finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Who's in the Super Bowl? Well, Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Yes, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes going back at it. Probably the top two Vegas favorites. I think they were the Vegas favorites at the beginning of the year for the betting odds. I think they probably still are, to be honest. But like wire to wire, look like the best NFC and the best AFC team to make the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. Like when you look at the road each of these teams have to go through to make the Super Bowl, they're both pretty tough. Like Kansas City, they get a bye, but then they have to beat Baltimore, and then they have to beat Buffalo. So that's tough. Like those are two very good teams offensively and defensively as well. And then you look over at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they basically get a bye too because they got to beat Washington. So they beat Washington, and then they got to go and they got to beat Green Bay. And then after they beat Green Bay, they got to beat Seattle. So they got to beat the 4 seed Washington, then the 1 seed in Green Bay, and then they got to go and beat the 3 seed again in Seattle. This is going to be like a primetime heavyweight fight. This is probably going to be one of the most anticipated Super Bowls of all time. Just like the star power and all the storylines and everything that'll go into the Super Bowl. Like, can Patrick Mahomes win his second Super Bowl in a row? Can he finally vanquish Tom Brady in the playoffs? Does Tom Brady still have it? Did he need Belichick and the Patriot way to win a Super Bowl? Also, like for Tampa Bay fans, like Tampa Bay, this could be your first Super Bowl win since 2002. Like you guys have been bad ever since 2002. And Kansas City could be the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls since the 03-04 Patriots Tom Brady was a part of. There's so many storylines. You also have the two greatest tight ends of all time, or at least in this era ever, facing off. You have Gronk and the Bucks, and then you have Kelsey and the Chiefs. Like there's so much at stake at the Super Bowl, not just like for winning the Super Bowl, but for legacies and storylines and everything else. It's going to be a fantastic game. Now, obviously, it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be lots of offense. I think that the final score is going to be 28-24, Kansas City winning back-to-back Super Bowls. If you like this video and you want more content like this, please consider subscribing, drop a like on the video, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching. You're watching Bench Talk Sports.